It's getting real, folks. Tampa Bay releasing photos of Tom Brady in his new uniform. Goodbye, Patriots blue. Hello, Bucs red. Don't sleep on the fact that Super Bowl 55, everyone, is being held in Tampa. It could be a storybook ending. They have the fourth best odds to win the Lombardi Trophy, that according to Vegas. Is Brady's impact being overhyped at this point?
It is by the media and fans. The odds makers understand what it is. And by the way, across the sports landscape, you want to know what's going on? Take a look at the odds makers, because their livelihood is based on getting that right. You know, you don't want the line shifting too much. That means too many people are placing bets that may pay off. So they have to gauge that right, and then the public bets it even better. The over-under wins for the Bucs is 9.5. Now, they won 7 games last year, and they look like they've improved. They added talent on the offensive line in the draft. We had Mel Kiper, I believe it was, on our show saying that the guy they added was supposed to be the first offensive lineman taken in the draft, fell to the Bucs. Traded up to get him, I believe. Anyway, the point is they add talent there. Gronk comes out of retirement. Tom Brady's safe, security blanket. They add there. They have a ton of weapons on offense. They have an underrated defense, right? And they got an excellent coach. So you would say, given all those things, if Tom Brady was really going to have that effect, he wouldn't move the line 2.5 games. It's not that 2.5 games isn't significant. So if you're taking the over, you say 3 games, unless you're taking the way over. But 2.5 games is significant. Just consider, Jameis Winston was incompetent last year. Don't tell me about the 5,000 yards. If you air it out with great receivers or, offensive weapons everywhere, you can compile a lot of yards. It's the interceptions, the 30 interceptions, the 112 points the other way. Simply replace Jameis with a competent quarterback. You're going to pick up at least a game, probably 2. So Brady is giving you what, a game premium over just a competent quarterback? I do think that people believe, but he's the magic man in the playoffs, and particularly over the second half of his career, that's been true. He has been extremely clutch in the playoffs, because sometimes guys can get an overblown reputation for that because they're on great teams. I think Brady's was a little bit early in his career. But second half of his career, there's no doubt that was true. But let's take last season. They had a must-win game against Miami last week of the season. They lost. They had a must-win game, obviously, in the playoffs against Tennessee, against whom they were favored. They lost. Brady did not play particularly well in either one of those games. So even the kind of reputation, but if they can get to the playoffs, which 10 wins doesn't guarantee you, because you have Brady, you're liable to make a run. Even that, at this point, I believe is overblown. So, it's been overhyped by the media and the fans, but not the odds makers.
Well, I mean, obviously, your position is very, very predictable, and I applaud you for making it. At least you're consistent as opposed to giving 10 different points. So I thank you for that sincerely from the bottom of my heart, but I respectfully disagree with you. Here's the reality of the situation, Max Kellerman. I think Brady is not being overhyped at all in this particular situation because, thank God, he's got some talent to work with. I understand he's approaching 43 years of age. I understand that Father Time is definitely compiling dust on that birth certificate of his, but guess what? There is such a thing as rejuvenation, and that usually takes place when you've got pieces around you that don't require you to be all you used to be in order to be just as productive as you used to be, because they can make up for some of that, and that's where Godwin comes in, Evans comes in, Rob Gronkowski comes in, O.J. Howard comes in, Cameron Brate comes in, even Ronald Jones II that averaged over 4 yards a carry rushing the football out of the backfield, not to mention a buffered offensive line. I take those things into consideration. I look at him being bereft of weapons in New England, and I say to myself, excuse me, this is not underhyped at all. Look at this. Cam Newton ain't in Carolina anymore. That's Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, even though Christian McCaffrey is the man for that squad, they're in rebuilding mode as far as I'm concerned with Matt Rule, this $66 million college coach, now the coach of the Carolina Panthers. And I say 66 as opposed to 60, Marcus, because they paid $6 million to buy him out of his contract to Baylor to get him to the Carolina Panthers, as if they needed to do that in order for him to be a coach in the NFL. But that's neither here nor there. The Atlanta Falcons, we recognize the fact that they've come up short with their level of production, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, primarily due to injury. But nevertheless, I still don't believe believe they've recovered from blowing a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, we've had Atlanta Falcons on the show acknowledging they're still recovering from that psychologically. We even had Ludacris on the show, Max, admit he still ain't over it, okay? So they've affected the city. They've affected the fans. They've affected themselves. I mean, it's something that won't go away. So this comes down to New Orleans.
Luda's still upset.
And Tampa. And when I look at New Orleans with Drew Brees, and you said it best, Max, how vehement he's going to be in support of the players, because obviously he steered in the wrong direction. Yeah, the players going to be men enough to go out there, be professionals, perform, and he's a guy worth forgiving. We get all of that, but still, something's been compromised there. And as a result, we never know what kind of effect that's going to have. So I look at all of those things,
Stephen
and I say,
Drew Brees is going to sound like Marcus Garvey the rest of this season.
And who knows what's going to happen? He ain't overhyped. Tom Brady ain't overhyped. Oh, by the way, last point, Marcus. Tom Brady has never thrown more than 14 interceptions in a season. We're coming off of Jameis Winston with 30, right? Mr. 30 for 30, giving new meaning for 30 for 30, all right? The reigning defensive player of the year as far as I'm concerned. Nobody did more for a defense than Jameis Winston, all right? Tom Brady, since 2010, has only thrown double digits in interceptions 3 times in the last decade. I mean, come on now. That, based on the fact alone that you ain't turning over the ball is going to be a huge plus. I'm rolling with that. He ain't overhyped. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.